Are we going? Oh,
Hi,
oh, it's
everybody.
live. I didn't know it was.
Welcome. Hi, Heather and
Hi.
Zach.
How you doing?
It's your boy Yakarious here with Sparkle
Lady.
and your introduction.
Hi, Heather and Zach. I'm
Oh,
welcoming Heather and Zach Wasielewski to this platform this evening. This is a couples collaboration edition. Thank you for coming on. Welcome, Zach and
hi.
Heather. Heather and
I'm so
Zach.
excited.
So I'm just going to read just a little brief introduction for all of us to know what we're going to be flowing about this evening. Welcome to the Power Couple Podcast featuring Sparkle and Yakarious. We are here to delve into the dynamics of extraordinary partnerships. Join us as we explore the secrets, challenges, and triumphs of couples who not only navigate life together, but also make a powerful impact on the world. Get ready for insightful conversations that redefine what it means to be a dynamic duo.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
So, welcome, guys. For me, the definition of power couple, we've been using that
Yes.
to describe exactly what couples are that have a length of time together. And for me, that power comes from doing the work, making the compromises, being able to communicate, being able to get through the hard times as well as the good times, being able to get over whatever you dislike about the person, and focus on the likes and the love. Whatever it took to cope with getting through these years, that's what makes us power couples. And we want to encourage couples that don't have that power, that split up, and suffer as a result of it, and everything that all the consequences that come with splitting up. If there's property involved, children, whatever the case may be, marriage, legal marriage, it could be a bunch of things that have an impact. And but at the end of the day, another power couple. And so, what I would like to do is, before we begin, is maybe Heather and Sparkle can say how they met, because you guys had a relationship, right? You have a different type of relationship. And this is about relationships. So
Yes. I also, okay, so I have cultivated a very healthy relationship with Heather. I remember meeting you, Heather. I don't know if you're gonna tweak our story. Feel free, because my memory hasn't been the greatest. So that when I was running for city council, or around the time that I was politically involved in the city of Utica, we met on that journey, and it was it was something that I talked about, I believe, in North Utica about mental health. This is when my heart remembered you. You came up to me after the crowd was kind of conservative and I'm more liberal, talking about special needs and my children. And one of the other candidates was like, "You don't need to talk about all that." And you came over to me afterwards and were like, "I like what you said about mental health. It's important." And that's pretty much your slogan on your social media. It's like, it's okay to talk about mental health. So that's how I feel like we met. Well, that's how my heart remembers you. And yeah, in your memory, how did we meet? I don't.
I remember it at the council meeting as well. Also remember being at the Chancellor Apartments, and you were there, speaking there, and I remember seeing you there. But there was something about you that I gravitated to, and that was this feeling that when we talked about mental wellness, I could relate to you quickly. I could understand you. I could read you. I could tell, like, there was just something about you that I needed to know more. I wanted to be friends with you. I wanted to understand more about your life, and I felt like we had a lot, and so different but so much in common.
Yes.
But yeah, it's definitely during the council, during the election, there is when I felt our connection.
Yes,
So
that's right.
Okay.
So that leads me right into Zach. Here's our icebreaker question.
Okay.
It is, if you are stranded on a deserted island, what are three things you guys are going to bring with you and why?
Oh God, we're not going to agree on any of these. We'll definitely disagree. Every single one. She would probably bring. Well, I don't know what. I don't know what I would bring. I know what I would bring.
Three things you would bring.
Heather bring her phone and her and a TV of some sort. And probably some cheese or something.
What kind of cheese, Zach?
All of it. All of it.
I don't know. If there's electricity, yes. If this island magically has electricity, yes.
Yeah, I think I didn't answer your question, but I would probably bring. I'd be boring, and I would bring survival gear, like something to start a fire with, something maybe a tarp or something like that. But so I'd be practical, and Heather would be the.
Well, I make sure that he would have all the practical stuff so I could have the stuff that I want. Like, I know that he would bring the survival gear. You know what I mean? When we go hiking or anything, I know he's going to be the one that's going to make sure that we have everything that we need. And I can bring all the fluff stuff, like the extra sandwiches and other things like that.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, so I feel like if we were going to an island, I could already know that he would have all the stuff that we would need to survive. And then I could just bring the comfortable things.
Aww.
Well, I'm curious to know, Sparkle, what would you bring?
Oh.
Mm.
All right.
Sparkle.
Off the top, I don't know. Does children count? That's the first thing I think about.
We forgot about our son.
Sorry.
Then that means that's your three things right there, right?
Well, they count as one. They count. I'm putting them all on my kangaroo pouch, and we're going. I would, off the top of my heart, I think I would bring like a backpack filled with non-perishable food items, and I will bring something that I can write with, like a pencil, and a paper, or a pen and paper. Maybe that counts as three. I'm not sure. Just something I could keep notes with.
Kids, paper, pen, and
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
So before I tell you what I would bring, I noticed I wasn't on the list, right? I'm just saying, hold on. So
I'm thinking
there was
stuff and you
people,
asked
and I wasn't on the list. I wasn't even grouped with the children. Now,
OMG.
no, serious. Now these are the type of things that, depending on the couple and depending on where they're at in their relationship, could become a big thing, right? And so I just want to stop and say that for now. You know, it's relevant to the individuals. You know, some people just always looking for something to argue about. So that could become a big thing. And I just want to point that out. But
Okay.
I just, you know, just for the fun of it. And it's that type, you know, we're talking about, we're in a relationship. Trying to sit there, you know, she's going to bring me now. So my three things would be, that's a good thing.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think for some reason I'm thinking I'm going to bring a tractor trailer full of water. Can I do that? I don't know. I mean, we're going to use it in our imagination, right?
How we get to the island.
If we're going to use our imagination, I'm going to need something to drink, some water. Possibly some food, so maybe a tractor full of food.
Okay.
Right? And there's something to keep me warm. Maybe a tent with some, I don't know. Somebody got, so those are the things, that's how I'm thinking. Food, clothing, and something to drink. Those are the three top. Because a cell phone, I don't know, if they don't have electricity, then it don't make no sense. That's a waste. If I can't charge the phone, I don't know. But it's a hard question. That's a hard question.
I'm like, maybe I should rethink those things. I mean, he's going with truckloads, and I'm like, well,
Why not? Right? If I'm stranded, right? I'm driving.
How long am I here for? Is it like 3 days? So my phone's fine. If not, then I might have to change it up a little.
Okay.
So, guys, why don't you tell us a little bit about how long you've been married or known each other, how long, just to give us a little brief history, like,
what,
Well,
married.
that's the question. How long you guys been together? I guess.
Okay,
That's the
I
first
think we've been married since 2014. I think we met around 2009.
Mhm.
So how long that's been?
14 years,
14?
almost 14 years. Yeah,
About
14.
that.
14 years. Wow, 14 years.
No, it's not that.
Really, maybe 13. 2009
Close,
and
yeah.
yeah, there we
Yeah.
go. Yes.
Where was Heather and Zach in 2009? How did it happen? Who said hi first?
Me, I did everything.
Yeah, she had said hi the first, second, and third time.
I had to work hard at this. I never had to work hard at trying to get a guy before. I had to work at this. Like I was like, this will be easy. Like look, I'm like, and but we met first. It was actually at Nail Creek. We were there with some friends, and he picked on my shirt because it was missing a button, and I'm like, okay, and but I was like, it was, but yeah, it was definitely me who said hi first, me who didn't stop talking, me, that's me.
Nice. That that's new. Like women today, because for my day, women were real skeptical about approaching a male. They felt like it was unladylike, breaking women's code and all that. But today, there's more forward thinking, and women like, well, no, if I see a man I like,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just
I'm
gonna let
hunting it
him know it if I want it, right? And I don't see nothing wrong with that. Like go get what you want and look at it. 14 years later, right?
Oh.
So it definitely wasn't a mistake. It definitely wasn't a mistake.
Wait, what did you say, Zach?
He's like, look at him. He's like, yeah, look at me.
Yeah, funny.
No, it's definitely me hunting.
And it did work. And I think you do need that compliment sometimes. You need. Yeah, I don't. It doesn't matter if it's which side is making the move. I don't think. I'm not. I don't have very strict kind of gender roles where it bothers me. We probably wouldn't be together if she hadn't been, or we wouldn't have been together if she hadn't been so forward. So, yeah.
I hunted him.
So, guys, we have a term that we use, and I don't know if you use this term or something different, but we have a term we call separation anxiety.
Oh yeah.
And what that means for us is that when we're apart from each other, we're constantly texting apart. It's like we're really going through some stuff when we're apart. So we call this separation anxiety. Do you guys experience that in your relationship, or have you at any time?
I do. It's a weird feeling. When if we go away for a night or throughout the day, I kind of like want him there and part of the experience with me. And it is a weird feeling, but then when I get home and I see him, I feel connected and I feel better. So absolutely, I definitely think that I go through some, and I think he does too, because sometimes he wants me just to go to the grocery store with him, and I'm like, I don't want to go, and he's like, come on, it'll be fun.
Heather's the social one. She wants to be together all the time, and I'm a little less. I'm not so much. I like my space and I like my alone time, but after a certain amount of time, I get that I do go into that separation anxiety kind of mode where I need to know that where she is and what's going on and how things are. But it takes me longer. She gets in that mode after 5 minutes. It might take me 8 hours or something like that.
Yeah, I do. I call him at work. Like we haven't talked in days. Like, hey, it's lunch. What are you doing? Like he was just home 4 hours ago. Just check in, calling you. What are you eating for lunch? Stuff like that. He's like, oh, like I just saw you.
So, for me, I know when I think about it, that it's necessary to have that alone time. And Sparkle agrees too. We need that space sometimes just to get away from one another and maybe do a few things that the other person is not completely comfortable. Like I could just be on my phone and she could just be on her phone without saying, why you paying more attention to the phone than me or whatever, whatever that space that you could use in, but at the same time, we're still thinking about one another and stopping the text, whatever. So I was just wondering if you experienced it, and so now we know that we're not alone.
Yeah, we're not alone.
What do you think? Yeah, about you?
Yeah, for me, I feel like I'm like Heather. Like after 3 to 5 seconds, where you at? Only because I feel like when you are so connected with somebody and the chemistry is so real, It's unique. It's like no other. You crave it, and then when you're going out to the realm of other people, and they're nothing like your partner, and you're like, I don't belong here. Where's my partner?
Yeah.
Someone you can relate to, someone, especially, that's why I feel like with mine. And Zach is more like, come on, like he could probably go some hours, and I want to go minutes.
I pull out of the driveway and I call him right away. I'm like, hey, the red light's out at blah blah blah. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm calling you, but I just feel like it's necessary to tell you. Like, I mean, I pull out of the driveway and I've gotten like 2 houses down, and I'm like, oh, so and so left their trash can out by the blah.
And then
It's me. I drive 3 blocks and I see somebody we know. Guess what? I'm gonna call. Listen, I just seen so and so. So what? I mean, but I'm looking for excuses to make that
Sorry.
They could have waited for later me telling her that I seen this person. He's now
No, I need to do it as soon as I get a driveway.
Oh man, life is funny sometimes. But I just think that this separation anxiety is kind of real.
Yeah.
And what happens is what I find too, after a certain day, like if I had a frustrating day at work or just out where, whatever the case may be, or even if not, I just need to relax. I can find comfort with this connection, right? And I'm sure you guys can identify with that.
Especially like if we're on the couch and both of us are on our phones.
Mhm.
I'm not upset about it. I rather have him there in that present with me than me by myself. Like I'm fine. He's there. He's doing his thing. But I like it that but I used to not be like that at first. I used to be like, why are you writing your book right now? Why are you doing that? Now I'm like, go ahead. Like it's good, but it's comfortable.
Yeah.
So, because you feel so good with each other and you have trust and understanding, and you're doing your thing and I'm doing, and I don't need that constant interaction now because I'm comfortable. So
I gotcha.
I'm kind of the same. So I'm trying to think how we're different, but like
we're very different.
we are, but yeah, we are.
We're very different.
But I'm more comfortable. Like she wants to interact when we're together. She loves. I mean, I do too, but she's the talker. She's the social one. She wants to do more often interaction, and I'm more comfortable. Like I love talking. Like we sit at the table in the morning, we drink coffee and we talk. We're talking all the time, but I don't need that socialization as much as she does. So I think I'm more okay just kind of being together. Like if we're sitting quietly in a room doing our own thing, I love that. And I have that. That's where I feel connected, but I don't always need to be interacting directly to
and that was hard for me to understand for a while. I thought love was always this happy. You have to tell me you love me all the time. We have to be talking all the time. We have to be doing. But then you begin to realize that love sometimes can just be 2 people in a room, and you don't need to be telling each other or talking to each other constantly. So that was like a very important thing that I learned from him, that I finally believed that he doesn't need to be talking to me and telling me these things all the time.
That's right.
Yeah. I feel connected just being together, and that's sort of what I need. But I've realized that's not what Heather needs.
Yeah, that was
she needs a different kind of connection.
But that was really hard for me in the beginning in our relationship. But now it's bad. It's definitely a lot better. But that was a hard one for me. Yeah, absolutely.
So that took time.
Yeah. So before I comment on what you said, hey, Marvel Peters is saying, hey.
Oh, that's Musa. Hi,
That's
James.
Musa.
I love that.
Hey, how you doing, beloved? Assalamu alaikum. So Zach, we have that in common. Sparkle is similar to Heather, where at one time, especially when she was running for city council, after that, we get invitations from everywhere, like to go to every event, even after she lost. Like she was on every mailing list for every event, and she wanted to go. And then she asked to be on 3 or 4 boards, and I was like, wait a minute, you're only one person. But and how much?
Me.
Excuse me?
They asked me to be on their board.
That's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said they.
No, I said they asked you to be on their board, 3 or 4 different boards.
Yes.
And I'm trying to say you're one person.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to say no to everybody, so she want to make all these commitments and say, okay, that's all fine. But what about me? I need some of this time. You can't have, you know,
Yeah.
and so we had to do a little reversing, but so I know, and she's still a little anxious. She wants to go out and be involved. She has some activities, but so I have to be a little compromising with that, like you, Zach, you know, and understand. Okay, if this is who you are, then go fulfill whatever it is that you need to do with a boundary and a limit. Just don't totally forget about me. I'm still here,
Yes.
type thing. In the relationship. Did you?
Okay, which means I'm only on one board now out of the 22 that I was on.
That's good.
So, compromise.
No, it's hard. It's I like to be like sparkle out in the community. I like doing things, and it's very hard for me to say no. You know, it's really hard for me to, if there's, it's, I think it's from like a childhood thing, from way I grew up, that any way I can help somebody, or if I see someone struggling, I want to help them. So, you know, recently I helped do a campaign for almost a year and a half, and it took me away from my husband and my family. And we really had to compromise a lot throughout it because I was just never home and I was busy and it was hard. So, yeah.
Mhm. So, you know, I was wondering if that issue could come up with a topic about the campaign.
Mhm.
So far, we just without mentioning any names, if you want,
Yeah.
whatever. But I was interested in knowing how if it had an impact on the relationship, and you answered that question. That took you away from your family.
Yeah.
And so that also meant, I guess you felt Zach's energy as a result and how it impacted him. How you guys work through that, if you don't mind,
Well, honestly,
We argue about it a lot.
yeah, we argued a lot. We did.
It was stressful.
It was hard because, you know, it took me away from things that I would normally do with them, like my son's taekwondo class, or, you know, maybe like a thing we would go to with friends, but I was too tired to go. You know, none of my emotions were being invested at home. And I was just on a freight train going, you know, and I needed just to get to the election day to get past all of it. So there was a lot of talking, a lot of apologizing. But I feel if there's one thing I learned throughout the process, I learned to take accountability for the things I did wrong or said wrong. You know what I mean? Like that was something I never did really before. And now I'm really trying to go, you know what? You're right. And I'm sorry. And instead of being like, you're only worrying about yourself or you don't care. And you know, this is hard for me, I started to understand like, you're right. I'm sorry. And I only need 3 more weeks or 2 more weeks. And like, so I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but that was definitely probably one of the hardest times for us. I don't think I'd ever do one again, ever.
So, Zach, let me play devil's advocate, because one of Sparkle's arguments to me is that, but you should want to support me in my vision or this goal of mine. You should want to support me, right? So, what do you say to that, Zach?
I don't know. We had a lot of that came up a lot, and I think I always made it clear, because I did support her. I supported her working with the campaign. 100%. I think every time we argued, I said, I just want to be clear. I 100% support you're doing this. But I think I think she knew that I supported her throughout it in general, but day to day, I had trouble occasionally controlling that frustration, even though I knew it was. And I think we would say that, where I'd tell you, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm acting like this. I understand that.
Because he was also doing work for the campaign too.
A little bit, not nearly as much, just helping out and
little things here and there. So the campaign didn't leave at the doorstep where I was at. It was also at home. So when I had deadlines or I had things, I would have to ask him, can you help me with this? So it was this wasn't the place I went to did not think about it. So it was always happening.
Just a lot of, it's tough when you have something like a campaign. It's unpredictable, the timing, so you never know when you might have to go handle some volunteer work or I don't know, talk. pass out some literature of some sort. Who knows what
Yeah.
things? There are deadlines that are unpredictable. There's always meetings, and Sparkle from
Yes, I know.
and you can't say no.
Yeah, and it's hard, you know me, Sparkle, and guys, it's
Yes.
hard for me to say no because I'm
Yes.
helping somebody. So
Yes.
that's hard. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So on the other side of it, Zach, from my point of view as a male in this relationship, that, or just a partner in a relationship, the other partner, that if we want to support the vision, as the dream, how we're looking at it, but at the same time we're depending, or I am depending, I shouldn't speak, I am depending on my partner to also to be considerate moving forward, right? Of me, and set boundaries for herself
Mhm.
so that I'm included time wise, need wise, or whatever. And I can get, unfortunately, how you can get caught up with something like a campaign or a project where you just get so wrapped up to it that you really don't have enough time for that project, but you're trying to find time for it, and somebody's getting neglected.
Mhm.
Yes, go ahead, Heather. Yeah, no, I just, that's what I had to say. So if you know where I'm going, go ahead,
Yeah.
jump right in.
No, it does. I mean, you do. It's hard, like when you have no time and you have to get this work done for somebody else, but you also want to have enough time just to lay with your son in bed and say goodnight, or you want to, sit there and have a few minutes on the couch to talk to your husband, but there's really no time to do that because I just put my son to bed. I have work to do, and now I'm just like, I'll see you tomorrow, kind of thing. It was like,
Yeah. And I did a lot of talking to myself during this because I knew I wasn't being fair to Heather at times. Sometimes we'd fight, and I was unfair a lot in my expectations but I knew that. I mean, Heather helped. Heather's very honest and open, and she's very good at kind of seeing what's going on emotionally and mentally. So I think she's helped me sort of figure out some of these things about myself when I'm feeling frustrated. I've started to learn how to identify that and actually respond to it instead of just being frustrated and yelling at her and taking out that frustration that I have on her or someone externally, because I know it's there. So yeah, she's helped me kind of get to that where I see that coming on, and so I had to use some of those strategies a lot during the campaign because I was frustrated and I would get upset and yell and we'd fight, and I know that I wasn't totally right because I wanted her to work with the campaign. I wanted it to be successful. I supported what she did, but it didn't mean I'm not a little bit selfish and want to take some of that time for myself too. And
That's right.
Yeah, often I think for me there's a conflict between my emotions and my reasoning, my thought processes, right? Because if I'm not that emotional, I stop and think about it. I say, okay, this is the right thing to do. But a lot of times when my emotions don't agree, yeah, but you want this, and forget how right it is, or how good it is, or how how valuable it is. You want this, and there's a conflict a lot of times for me, and I think that's what you're describing. What you're describing is, for me, that conflict.
that's exactly how I feel. Yeah, it is a conflict. Yeah,
it is a
but I
conflict
didn't know it was a conflict until I just recently realized I learned how to start identifying that conflict. I didn't even know that was kind of what was going on until Heather sort of clued me into it. Now I'm getting better at identifying the difference, but I'm still not great at it.
I'm very empathetic. So I feel everybody around me and I feel him. And even if he's not that mad, I still feel I need to make sure that to fix whatever's going on. And then that's a hard thing too, because even if it's like a little thing that he's feeling, I need to fix it. Like I need to make sure that he's A-okay. And that has been something very hard for me in this relationship that I'm working on. So
Well, I have to say, I never met you before, Zach. I've seen Heather in person a few times, and man, I'm really appreciating your honesty, and I appreciate the fact that you've actually took a deep look at your responses and your part in the relationship, right? Because
Mm.
man, it takes a lot of work to do that. A lot of times we're so busy pointing fingers that we're not taking a look at, well, what role am I playing in this? Am I contributing to whatever the problem or the issue is? Uh, and I hear that in you, man. And no, that's what we need in order to survive a relationship.
Yes.
Both partners being willing to take a look at themselves so that they can bring a better version of themselves to whatever the issue is, opposed to just pointing the fingers at the other partner and blaming them. And this is what I'm hearing. I'm loving what I'm hearing so far.
Yes.
That's the hard part, though. That's what I mean. I think I've learned a lot, and I'm not good at this still. Heather will tell you I'm not. I'm just a beginner at kind of paying attention to my emotions and my feelings, and I was sort of like a lot of men. I was raised not to be that emotional or to really identify that. You kind of are taught to sort of power through things, not show emotion, not think too hard about them, or not to trust them. And I think I've had that. I mean, I'm 43, so I've probably lived like that mentally for at least 30 years more. And I think Heather's been very helpful in sort of helping me try to begin getting in touch with my emotions and sort of being able to put someone else, get someone else's shoes and just be more empathetic and understand that I'm probably causing half of the issue, at least maybe all the issue, but at least half of the issue in every situation.
I think it's hard when someone's like, it's very out. We're very different. I mean, even our music or TV we watch, it's all different.
Yes.
So this is work, but we love each other and it's there. So we do a lot of sacrificing and trying to understand to make this continue and move forward. So, while he's sacrificed, I've also learned, like, when he seems upset, to kind of give him that space instead of going, well, why do you feel this way? What's wrong? Do you need a hug? What's going on? Are you in a bad mood? I just go and go and go. And I've learned now just be like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and give a little while before I ask and see what happens. So.
Yeah, she's learned that sometimes maybe I'm mad about something. I don't know what. I just need 5 minutes. And then
let me just say, I'm sorry to interrupt, but let me just say while I'm thinking about it that hopefully we don't come across like we're in authority on relationships, because I don't think so. I think that what we are trying to do is have conversations with a diverse group of couples to put information out there for people, including us first and foremost, because we're still going through exactly what you're saying every day, right?
Yeah.
We know different, and we're not separate from what any other couple is going through. So I want to make sure that I make that clear.
Oh yeah.
But I think what I am good at is asking the right questions to bring out the information. That doesn't make me an authority. Now I'm just looking for the right questions. Now, with that said, I want to go back to something you said, Zach. You guys are saying some good things. I want you to know I'm listening. But what you prompt me to think about was when you was talking about that, what you're going through as far as to learning about yourself emotionally, and Heather's helping you that. But what I'm thinking is it's necessary for us to become a better person or a different person to adapt to living with someone and being in a relationship. There's just a lot of things we can't do as in this relationship that we would do as a single person, right? And I mean, not necessarily something bad, just some habits like, hygienic stuff, the way you keep your place. You have to be considerate. You're living with another person, right? You're not alone. Washing dishes, putting food in the refrigerator, like I'll do it next week. No, there's another person I have to eat. There's a lot of little things that has to be considered besides the time, like we mentioned, spending time with one another. But there's a lot of other things that have to be, and there's a long list. But what I find too is that I have to be careful. I'll speak for myself. Um, not to take something that's minor and make something major out of it. That's something that I'm kind of mindful of, and I've seen it a lot in other couples when I've observed and saying that wasn't that really that serious, but maybe it's because they were looking for a reason just to argue and leave or get out because.
Yeah.
But we have to be careful of turning something minor into something very major because we don't know what directions they're going to go
Oh, yeah.
into.
I agree.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's easy to do.
That's very easy, especially having a bad day. You can be like,
That's right. Like, because
why?
yeah. Oh, my bad. I'm
No,
listening.
go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, for me, like, I know I'm a runner, I'm a track star. Like, the first slight inconvenience, you know what? I'm out of here. And you
Oh,
know what? We're not married anyway. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. It's like, oh my gosh, why do I have to fight? Why do
yeah.
I have to compromise? Why do I have to listen? Why do I even have to communicate? And so when I go home and I'm thinking about me running off and running away, I'm like, you know what, Kamal is probably right. I never had to do this in my relationships before in the past. I would just pretty much exist and red and pink and whatever color carpet was laid out, and I could just walk through it like I'm the fairy princess and godmother of everybody. But in this relationship, I'm challenged to grow and to, communicate and to compromise and to
Yeah.
sacrifice and all of those things to help to move forward. So I did have a question. I heard food. I heard a few things that I wanted to like ask a million questions about, but I'm only gonna go ahead with this one. So with today's economy, with the rising costs and price of everything from food, rent, mortgage, automobile, vehicle repairs, what do you do as a couple to cope with these economic insecurities?
I I think that we tend to live frugal. We don't spend too much on too many. You know what I mean? Like we don't. I don't know. Would you say that?
No, we do. But that's actually one of the things we occasionally argue about is that, we try not to spend a ton of money, but the things that I think are worth spending money on are not the same things as Heather thinks are worth spending the money on. And it's, I don't know.
I feel like I'm doing great. I'm like, I'm not buying all the things that maybe I am. And I'm like, well, I did buy like $90 worth of coffee last month. So I guess I guess that, what.
Or one thing that I think one specific thing we've talked about is that we don't really go out to eat a lot, but sometimes we get lazy and it's easier to just go and grab something to eat instead of going shopping and getting groceries.
Mhm.
And
we've definitely argued.
We argue about that a lot because one day I don't want to cook and the other day Heather doesn't want to cook. And that's the one thing we noticed when our bank account was getting very low.
Yeah.
That it all came from eating out too
Eating
much.
out too much.
And we've argued about that a lot. And I think we're both always on the same side. Like neither of us want to spend. We're both committed to not wasting money that way.
Yeah.
But it's also hard when you're tired and.
And I think one thing that we've done lately though is kind of say when we want to get something to eat, like, do we really need this? How about we just go to the store and we buy X, Y, and Z? So we've been really trying to talk each other out of it a lot, like thinking about it. Well, okay, we went out once last week. Let's try to move it to once a week or something like that. And do that and compromise a little. But
I think that's one of those kind of things that just you don't realize you're spending money, and then it's because it doesn't seem that often if it's a couple times a week, but that adds up a lot. And that having that cooperation, I think, has been tough to say, no, we can't spend this money. We don't have it.
So I think
we need to agree on this.
yeah, I think to answer your question, we're not figuring it out yet. But I think we're trying.
Well, we talk a lot.
We
do
talk a lot, and
we're
we're aware of the situation. We talk about it a lot. We're trying to figure out compromises, but the answer is we haven't quite fully figured it out yet. So
I wish I could secretly make a video of people reactions when they walking down the aisles in the supermarket and looking at the prices today. Like,
oh my
because
God.
I know me, I'm like, oh,
So,
I look at it.
no, I
I'm
know.
I've never. It's like I thought that I've seen. Like this is it. Like every time I go, it seems to be going up. It's just crazy today, and I find myself having to make it so like, why would I go spend $20 at McDonald's when I can go maybe get $20 worth of cold cuts and
Make
and
sandwiches.
some bread and some and make my own sandwiches, and then I have something for tomorrow to take to work. You know,
Yeah.
we have to start thinking of the terms.
So right.
And the other thing that is really getting on my is I throw away too much food. I'm throwing away too much food. And I don't like that. So I'm trying to really tighten up on that. But that's always been a problem in America. As quiet as it's kept, the amount of food that we throw away for whatever reason or the other, whether it's leftovers or food that we let go bad, and past expiration dates or whatever the case may be. But I'm finding I'm really becoming conscious. That's just another thing that, as far as the food is concerned, I'm glad gas prices is coming back down a little
Yes.
bit. That's a little helpful because that was kind of out of control as well. And auto repair, I think those are the top three. And the
Yes.
cars repair today seems like it's almost double.
Impossible.
It's getting crazy out there with that. Those are the top three. You know, auto repairs and food.
Our health insurance, I think a big struggle for us too is our health insurance is around $1,500 a month with an $8,000 deductible. So we it went up 15% this year. So we have to pay, you know what I mean, out of pocket every month. That doesn't include my son, he's on Child Health Plus. But that's another, like, I feel like we I shouldn't be spending money on food and doing this stuff. It's just a shame that we can work and do all this stuff, but we can't afford to sometimes do all those nice things like get food, and we're paying a mortgage pretty much with the health insurance every month.
That's crazy.
That sounds criminal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's tough. Like, and that's
Yeah.
just in case. So it's like we just went up. Now we're paying, like I said, $1,500 a month, and then we're talking about, you know, we
between
can't.
both of us.
Yeah, 1,500 between us two, not our son. So
That's
yeah,
crazy.
sorry, I didn't mean to throw that in there, but I was just like,
That's an example.
it weighs on us, especially when it comes to, you know, when you talk about going out to eat or we talk about the price of food. It's like how is this happening to us right now? Like, we're good people. We work and we do what we can. We help out in the community, and, you know, and we can't afford to go out to eat or do some of the things we really like to do. So frustrating.
I was just guy at my job was talking about his dog was sick. He had to go get this medicine, like a little vial like this, $700 for the dog's medicine.
Wow.
They went out and bought the dog a North Face jacket. I'm thinking to myself, I can't even afford to take care of myself right now. How could I afford? I mean, I get it. You know, once you get emotionally involved and connected, it's just another relationship, right? With your pet. And now he becomes part of your family, your friend. And so now you got to take care of it, but it's expensive. You have pets?
We have three
cats.
Yeah, 3 cats.
But the cats are cheap.
Okay.
Okay.
Very low
Cats.
maintenance. Never see them. They're like, they hide all the time. You just feed them. They're like the greatest cats you could ever ask for.
Oh, wow.
So
That's interesting.
So let's see. Okay, then we covered the financial. We guys covered the frustration. I was going to bring that up. That's and we have some comments. What is Musa saying? Yeah, you see what we're doing. This is how we're doing. We're having a good vibe and energy here with Zach and Heather. And I'm loving the conversation. I love that you dug deep, man, and you gave us something. And that's, for me, that's what's needed. That's what I'm striving to do with Sparkle, learning how to dig a little deep, get away from trying to think and be emotional at the same time. Emotions supersede that all the time. I have to stop. When I'm emotional, I have to just stop what I'm doing, is get away, settle down, and stop and think. If I'm making decisions while I'm emotional, it don't work.
Yep.
They're never good decisions anyway, that way. But just being, I think just being in a relationship forces me to really take a look at myself deeper than I would like sometimes. And when I would like, because she might want to bring something up, and I may not be in the mood with what she wants to do. All right, so part of the relationship, right? Part of
It happens a lot over here.
Yeah. So
I'm
this
not
is
usually in the mood to have to have all my my ideas picked apart.
I'm willing to go deep anytime. What do you?
that's right.
Let's have that
I want
conversation.
to drive deep right now, right here,
Ready
right
for
now.
you.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's exactly what
Oh
I'm.
yeah, you want to dive deep right
So,
now.
I want to. You guys kind of touched on it a little bit about the emotions and the how you were feeling and how you navigated through those feelings. I want to know, what does vulnerability look like for you, and how would you inspire someone if how would you inspire, or what advice would you offer a couple about vulnerability? That, what does it mean anyway, right? Like, what does it mean, look like, and things like that. I wanted to have that as I guess, a general topic.
I think you want to go first.
No, go ahead.
You seem like you were ready. I said it earlier. For me to be vulnerable is to admit when I'm wrong. Um, um, that's one thing for me, is always like being able to say that I was wrong about something instead of continuing this fight and aggravation just because I'm angry and I don't want to be wrong, because I don't want to be wrong. But
Right.
yeah. And I think also talking about my childhood and past life growing up, being able to explain why I feel the way I feel, why I feel the need that I need him around a lot, or why I'm emotional, or why I like to go out to eat because I didn't have a lot of food growing up. So I want to go out to eat all the time. That was my cat. So I guess it's more like being able to really, admit I'm wrong about things, and be able to talk about my childhood and things of that nature, of why I act the way I act sometimes, I guess. So I think those are two things that help him understand me, and help understand the situation of why I feel the way I feel about things. Yeah. Those are mine.
And come on, looking at me.
Yeah, no, I would like. Did you have something? Because I wanted to say something, but I don't know. I want to see if you have something. Before.
Not as much, but just I think for me, vulnerability is just maybe admitting how or saying or admitting how I feel. So I was kind of, I don't think I was raised this way, but I think somewhere along the line I got the idea that how I feel is not something I should advertise. My feelings are kind of secondary to just doing what I'm supposed to do, and kind of just putting on a tough exterior. And not that I'm a tough guy, like I'm clearly not I'm not even close to the toughest looking guy you've ever seen, but I got the impression, like, you don't show your feelings, and you don't give that away, and you don't kind of let the world know how you feel, because that's not important. And I think I've learned recently, not recently, I mean, the last 5 years or 10 years, that it does matter how you feel, and you can be open about that, and it's okay to express that to somebody. And but to me that's vulnerability, just to be able to express your feelings and be comfortable saying how you feel.
Yeah. Well, I agree with those. I definitely agree with those. But the other side of it is too, the other person not taking advantage of the vulnerability, or taking advantage of you in that vulnerable state and continue to take advantage. They know what your vulnerability is now they want to take advantage of it. So that would not be a good partner. You need a partner that's going to support, which is going to go both ways. I'll support you when you're vulnerable. You support me when I'm vulnerable. I was thinking of some other different vulnerabilities. So, I think one time that I really feel vulnerable is sometimes when we're on the phone. Like one time, like she may lock up a place because she's closing a meeting. And so she stay on the phone with me because I'm not with her. So I'm on the phone and I'm thinking to myself, what if something happens to her over there? There's nothing I can do. So I feel vulnerable at the moment. And I feel vulnerable for you at the moment. That's one instance. And I just think in general, when we're not together, if you're at work, I'm at work, or if you out with a girlfriend or whatever, you out shopping, whatever. If we're not together, I feel vulnerable until I see you and I can touch you because now I know we're both in the same space together. I don't know. It's like maybe a built-in vulnerability with just the separation. We call it, other than the separation anxiety, it's just some vulnerability for me anyway.
That's right.
So those are the two that I wanted to mention.
Oh, that was sweet. I mean, because we all know this place is crawling with psychos.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying. So thank you. That was I didn't know that.
Why would you
Glad
say
you
that?
feel vulnerable for
When
she's in a parking.
everybody, this place is like. I think that was.
Oh yeah, as far as being vulnerable,
Yeah, being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess my vulnerability comes into, it resonated with what Heather was saying. I go through all these mood swings. I've been traumatized, victimized, dramatized as a child. So now here I am as an adult, but I'm still a child. That child, I was still stuck and bonded in that trauma at the first age that it began happening, which was really young. So I found myself being vulnerable, telling Kamal, pretty much all my deep, dark secrets. And sometimes it leads me to a place where I'm like grieving and, it's waterworks and I'm crying because I'm finally getting it out. He's listening. He's not as emotional as me, which I'm grateful for because, somebody has to be strong here. He has to literally be that solid wall shoulder that I can cry on and then analyze these emotions and growing with him. I become very vulnerable because like he's saying that, I've shared some of my past with other people and they took advantage of that vulnerable piece in me. That's one way I feel vulnerable. And another way I feel vulnerable, I guess, would be the fact that I think that you're a very beautiful human. And then when you're out in population, is these vultures in Utica trying to get at you? It's like, and I'm out there to be like, yo, back up off my man, son. Back up off my man. So I guess those are the two vulnerable. These women in this region are like they like sleep with each other's husbands and best friends and I'm not over here. I was so I guess I'm vulnerable when he's like out just being who he is and being attractive unbeknownst to him.
Do you think that vulnerability does, and I have that sometimes as well. Do you think it comes from, for me, it comes from just my childhood experience of like not having people there for me.
Yes.
And it's like, and I've gotten better at it as like, I've gotten much better with it. It's like, will he be gone next too? And will this just be another, part of how my life goes kind of thing? So I was like, that's what I was wondering.
Yes, that it could possibly be that. And I tell him that too. But I find out that sometimes because of my trauma, I might even indulge in self-sabotaging. Like, creating, going on this monkey mind of mine, not being able to discipline it. And then my imagination has wings and I haven't heard from him in 6 minutes. Something is up,
No, I
have a wave in the head.
we have to have another. We have to do another one on self-sabotage, just a whole episode, because I think Sparkle and I could fill up an hour's worth of self-sabotage.
Right. But the other thing is, and there's so much. We're going up to the 8 o'clock hour. We don't want to hold you past the hour. We don't want to hold the audience past the hour because that's a lot. But what I wanted to add on to what she was saying is that one of the things that we, and I can speak for with this, we identify in our relationship is that emotionally we're a lot younger than we are physically, right? And so what we say is I have a little boy in me, she have a little girl in her, who's still trying to catch up with the the physical age. But we believe we're the same age emotionally. That's what makes us a good couple, because emotionally, we understand each other on that level. There's no doubt that little boy and that little girl, they the same age. If that makes sense to anybody listening,
does.
to you know.
It's actually quite beautiful, to be honest with you.
So I don't know. We got about 7 minutes. What you got a way to wrap it up? Or you want to?
Well, I just wanted to say about the emotional. I think we're about 2.5, and the reason why I say 2.5 is because that's how long we've been together and trying to make it work.
Okay.
So it's like that toddler. What does toddlers do at 2.5? We're going through that terrible two, and it seems like we're going through not a terrible, but maybe more like a I don't know how to describe it, but trying to find a balance, trying to get that solid balance, and it's not as beautiful as it looks. And Kamal says that's good that we're going through this turmoil or through this stuff now, versus like being together and then jumping into a commitment and not sure about where we want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you get through those humps, though, and because he's right, I think it's it's awful as it is at the time when you're going through it. You learn a lot from each other and you grow from them. And as you just move on, like we have now, those big, huge things aren't so big anymore, and the arguments become a little bit smaller and easier to deal with, and don't last as long. And so I think it's really important that you have those fights. Truthfully, I think I know it's crappy, but you learn a lot from each other, and you have a choice whether to grow or not from those things. I think like you either can take this fight and be like, what did we get out of this? Or we did nothing, we continue fighting. So I think it's important to have those disagreements and to learn from each other. So yeah, me.
And I'm sure there's exceptions, but I think most people don't just get along all the time 100%.
Yeah, I want to meet them. They're not real.
I have couples who say they don't fight, but I do not believe that. I don't know how that's true, but you don't work out, you don't figure things out without some kind of conflict. And I think that's the way you kind of work things out. If you keep the conflict as calm as possible, that's the best case. But there's always going to be conflict. They're two different people.
I'm sure when you get off here, I will argue who's going to put Kaz to bed tonight. It's just going to happen. You're like, I had last night, you got tonight.
But that's a little thing, but that is kind of that. But those stupid, boring arguments are the ones that I think are the most challenging sometimes. They're not because they don't seem important, but you still have to. You're kind of like a team, and you have to figure it out. Yeah. You have to figure out the rules and the logistics of the system you have going. You can't just. Yeah. I mean, I just think it takes work, and that's okay.
I appreciate that you guys are inviting us into your journey with you too. And hopefully we all can learn something from each other from this, and who's watching it too. So relationships, they're work. It's work, and it always will be work. But
yes, they will.
I love him so much that, and like our relationship, that I want to put that work in that. At the end of the day, when you take away all the fighting and everything else, and you just have him, I know that's exactly where I want to be, and I'm okay with that. Remember that when I argue with you tomorrow about something. Just remember I said all of this today. But no, it's true. It's true.
Well, you have no better friend than the person that you're going through this with, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of it, you're developing a friend, and it's love don't stop growing, nor does a friendship. Yeah. Every day it grows more and more. It's like you don't reach a level with this. It just keeps going. And it's very powerful. It's love is so powerful that this friendship and this love, when you achieve that and you start getting to that point where you feel like you can't live without this person, then it's worth everything that you go through, all the frustration that we go through in order to achieve this level of friendship and love and intimacy with a person that you know you can count on and rely on, you know. And I mean, it's really, really hard to find someone that really captures your soul like that. That's why we say they're the soulmates, you know.
Twin flames.
Man, you guys have been. I'm really glad we have you on the list, man. It was
I do want to say one other
Thank you for having us.
Yes. So before we close, I'll be remiss if I haven't mentioned, you mentioned his name twice, and out of this beautiful union formed a beautiful human. And I want to talk a little bit about this beautiful human by the name, I like, you call him Kaz, we call him Kaz, right?
Yep.
Tell us his name, and I would like both of you to tell me a trait that you see in him that you know for sure came from, you know, each other.
Oh, this is easy.
So it's Kaz. His real name's Casimir Wasielewski. He's named after my great great grandpa. So when I so Kaz is and I just say this, like, Kaz is incredibly smart for his age. He reads well. He just does really well. And I see his drive for academic and his drive to build things and all of that from his dad. I see that he wants to learn and read books and soak up knowledge, where I was just like, I wanted to chat with my friends, pass letters in class. I didn't. And I see that from him, and I'm inspired by it because makes me want to learn more. Sometimes I feel like he's teaching me things, and I'm like, like he'll build something. I'm like, oh, let's all do a craft. I want in on this, and I want, so I see that part, the academic, the willingness to learn, I see that from his father.
Mm.
Is that bad?
Yeah, that's about
Is
right.
that
Yeah. Oh, so
what do you see in Kaz about me?
Oh, that way. I was wondering why you guys are for me. Okay. His social skills. He loves to talk. He loves to interact. He loves to laugh and have fun, and he's just a fun-loving, excited kid, and he enjoys being around people, and he definitely got that from Heather. Because that's not me. I had to learn. Heather's still teaching me to be more social. I'm the calmer, quieter, sort of behind the scenes one, and I'm glad that Kaz didn't get that from me. I'm glad.
And I'm proud because, one last thing, just because people are listening, I'm proud that Kaz is advocating for himself and others. I'm proud that he will tell people when things don't feel right or seem right. I'm glad that he gets to have this safety net that I never got to have, and be able to use his voice. And I'm very proud of that. And I live vicariously through that, because to see him so comfortable, and not worried, and I'm happy about that. So yeah, that's it. That's Kaz. He's cool.
Yes. Cool Kaz.
Cool Kaz.
All right, so I guess with that, we'll just wrap it up. Thank you, everyone at home, for listening wherever you are. This is Reality Speaks TV. Our guest today was Heather and Zach. And this is Real People, Real Talk.
Real talk.
The Reality Speaks TV. Until next time.
Peace.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good night.